I'm back. I'll be reading from the Bible. I'll be reading the HelpFinder Bible, God's Word, at your point of need. At your point of need. And I'll be reading Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 to Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. Genesis. In the beginning of all beginnings. Everything was fresher than the earliest morning, and newer than a baby's next breath. God spoke, and new words emerged. God breathed, and new life began. God created, and a new garden grew, with pristine purity. A new dynamic called love and marriage blossomed in that garden, and it would lead to a new wonder called children and family. A new utopia had begun. The whole wide universe and the teeny corner called Eden was bathed in honeymoon freshness. It was the dawn of all things wonderful, the dawn of everything bright and beautiful. What you will be reading about chapter 1, verse 1 to chapter 2, verse 25. How God created the world. Chapter 3, verse 1 to chapter 5, verse 32. How sin entered the world. Chapter 6, verse 1 to chapter 11, verse 32. The story of Noah and the ark. Chapter 12, verse 1 to chapter 25, verse 18. The story of Abraham. Chapter 25, verse 19 to chapter 28, verse 9. The story of Isaac. Chapter 28, verse 10 to chapter 36. To chapter 36, verse 43. The story of Jacob, chapter 37, verse 1 to chapter 50, verse 26. The story of Joseph. Genesis is the book of new beginnings, new wonderful beginnings, but it is also the book of new beginnings that were far less than the wonderful, because of another new dynamic called choice. God gave his creatures the ability to choose the course their lives would take, and they did not choose wisely, and so began the dark presence of the evil one, the dark shadow called temptation, and the dark woundiness called sin. Many today are tired of the same old thing, the same job, the same routines, the same responsibilities, the same load of debt, the same limitations, the same sickness or injury, perhaps even the sameness in marriage or family life. If only we could choose a new course in life. If only we could get away from it all. Perhaps even get away from everyone and everything familiar, out of debt, out of the neighborhood, out of the chains of a sameness. If only we could jumpstart a new tomorrow today. In our quest for newness, many jumped ship, leaving home and family behind, just to find that the new beginning is only the other side of the same old coin. Old oppression is exchanged for new oppression. Old problems are battered for new ones until it seems that the new is worse than the old. When we embark on a new beginning, how do we know which way it will take us? Genesis is the book to study for answers. It lays out the principles for new beginnings, new relationships, new rules, new jobs, new directions within the boundaries of God's timeless and unchanging truths. 444. 4. Successful living. Successful living. Newness will always be exciting and ultimately satisfying. If we stay within the guidelines for living that are laid down by God in this book and in the rest of the Bible. You will then find your beginnings as fresh and bright as the dawn of creation. But new beginnings without God outside his guidelines for living will be as dark and devastating as the expulsion from Eden, which led to a new world of pain, work, sweat, and sin. Read the book of Genesis to gain a new perspective on what appear to be the same old things. Let the triune of the ordinary become fresh and vital. When you do chart a new beginning in your life, use the guidelines for new beginnings presented in Genesis. Then you will have renewed hope and zest with each new morning by running with God, not from Him. Key verses in Genesis, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, chapter 1, verse 27. So God created human beings in his own image, male and female. He created them, chapter 9, verses 12 to 17. Then God said, I am giving you a sign of my covenant with you and with all living creatures for all generations to come. I have placed my rainbow in the clouds. Never again will the floodwaters destroy all life. Yes, this rainbow is the sign of the covenant. I am conforming with all the creatures on earth. Chapter 15, verse 6. And Abraham believed the Lord, and the Lord counted him as righteous because of his faith. Chapter 18, verse 14. Is anything too hard for the Lord? Chapter 26, verse 24. Do not be afraid, for I am with you and will bless you. Chapter 50, verse 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. The account of creation, Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light, and God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness night. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a space between the waters to separate the waters of the heavens from the waters of the earth." And that is what happened. God made this space to 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 separate the waters of the earth from the waters of the heavens. God called the space sky, and evening passed, and morning came, marking the second day. Then God said, "Let the waters beneath the sky float together into one place, so dry ground may appear." And that is what happened. God called the dry ground land, and the water seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant, and trees that grow seed bearing fruit. These seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came." And that is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed-bearing plants and trees with seed-bearing fruit. Their seeds produce plants and trees of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the third day. Then God said, "Let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from the night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. Let these lights in the sky shine down on the earth." And that is what happened. God made two great lights, the larger one to govern the day, and the smaller one to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set these lights in the sky to light the earth, to govern the day and night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the fourth day. Then God said, "Let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind." So God created great sea creatures and every living thing, the scurries and swarms in the water, and every sort of bird, each producing offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply. Let the fish fill the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." And evening passed, and morning came, marking the fifth day. Then God said, "Let the earth produce every sort of animal, each producing offspring of the same kind, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and wild animals." And that is what happened. God made all sorts of wild animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to produce offspring of the same kind, and God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, all the wild animals on the earth, and the small animals that scurry along the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God he created them, male and female, he created them. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and govern it. Reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground. Then God said, look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth, and all the fruit trees for your food, and I have given and I have given every green plant as food for all the for all the wild animals, the birds in the sky, and the small animals that scurry along the ground, everything that has life. And that is what happened. Then God looked over all he had made, and he saw that it was very good. And evening passed, and morning came, marking the sixth day. The sixth day. Genesis chapter 2. So the creation of the heavens and the earth and everything in them was completed. On the seventh day, God had finished his work of creation, so he rested from all his work. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because it was the day when he rested from all his work of creation. Okay, that's all. Bye.